Hello Magic fans, I'm Beef and welcome back to another standard gameplay video, this time featuring a deck that I absolutely hate and I think most people hate playing against it, and it is the Rakdos slash mostly mono red Leyline Prowess deck. So before we get into the deck, I'm just going to get on a bit of a soapbox. You would have heard me plenty of times talk about my dislike for certain cards or types of decks, and a lot of that is around cards I think go against, to me, some of the fundamentals of Magic. For example, a great example is Mythweaver Pock in Brawl. Pock's an alchemy card that says whenever you play a land, you create a token copy of it. One of the things about Brawl / Commander is you have access to this really powerful card, but you have to pay command attacks, which is 2 generic every time you recast it. So, you know, the more times you cast it, the harder it becomes to cast. With Pock, it just gets rid of that. You wait till you can play Pock before you've played land that turn, play a land, and then you can just carry on going, playing your commander every time. Yeah, there's other cards that do it. They let you play extra land drops and things like that, but that requires you to have extra lands in your hand. Mythweaver Pock, you just do it with one card in your hand. And I think that defeats the point of Brawl. And I think, not prowess generally, but the amount of prowess cards that we have got in Standard at the moment does something similar. One of the fundamentals in Magic to me is, you know, it's that choice of, do I develop my own board? Do I disrupt my opponent's board? With Burn, do I go face? Do I go against one of their creatures? They are questions that separate good and great players, and they are questions that are at heart to basically every decision you make in Magic. Prowess, you have to make the decision. You know, you don't have to worry about your opponent blocking because, you know, you can just play one Monstrous Rage and give your Swift Spear +4/+2 and trample. Hooray, fantastic. You know, you can just play your show off and then play 2 cards and give it +4/+0 and then whatever the cards do, and not have to worry about disrupting your opponent's ball because again you've got a flyer is a 10-2. I don't know about the history of Magic, but it seems like we have got a critical mass of those type of cards, and hell, this deck doesn't even have the Codebreaker, Fugitive Codebreaker, which is another prowess card in Standard because there are better cards. And then they print Leyline of Resonance. So in Duskmourn we got a whole set of Leylines. Leylines, for anyone who don't know, are always 4 mana value cards that if they're in your opening hand, you may put them on a battlefield straight away. Basically, you begin the game from the battlefield. You don't cast them, so there's no opportunity to disrupt them. And this one says, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell that targets only a single creature you control, copy of that spell, you may choose new targets for the copy. So what does this do? Well, it makes turn 2 kills not unlikely. They're not super common, but they are doable, and there is one in the video. So we have 2 creatures we want in our opening hand. Well, mainly there are more: Cacophony Scamp or Heartfire Hero. They do things similar. Cacophony, they're both 1 mana 1/1s. Cacophony Scamp has, whenever it deals combat damage to a player, you may sacrifice it. If you do proliferate, the proliferate bit's not relevant. But then when it dies, it deals damage equal to its power to any target. Heartfire Hero has that same death trigger, but it's just to each opponent, not to any target. So it can't take out creatures, but that's not relevant. We're never taking out creatures with it. But its other thing is Valiant, so whenever it becomes a target with spell ability control for the first time each turn, put a 1+1/+1 counter on it. So what is the turn 2 combo? We have one of these in turn 1. Turn 2, we attack. We need 2 lands. When they're unblocked, we play a single copy of Turn Inside Out, an instant from Duskmourn, a 1 mana common. This says target creature gets +3/+0 to end of turn. When it dies this turn, Manifest Dread. Manifest Dread means you look at the top 2 cards of your library, put one of them face down to battlefield as a 2/2 creature, and then you may turn it up for its mana cost if it is a creature at any time. Because we have the resonance on the battlefield, this will get copied. So we give one of our creatures +6/+0, going up to 7 power. Heartfire Hero actually got up to 8 power because you get a counter from the first time it being targeted, and then +6/+0. You hit him for 7, let's say 7, they're down to 13. We then, with our second mana, play Burn Together from Callous Sellsword, a card I'm sure all of you have seen. This is the only black card in here as well, but the Venture side costs red. It says target creature controls deal damage to its power to any target and then sacrifice it. So we target, let's say, a Cacophony Scamp. It deals 7 to our opponent from 13 down to 6. Then we sacrifice it as part of Burn Together, and because it dies, we then deal 7 to our opponent face. Turn to win. It's not unlikely. It's not massively rare though. You know, so, and hell, there's even a game in the videos where I had 2 Leylines in my opening hand starting a battlefield, and I literally got a turn 2 win just by attacking for 10 and then sacrificing it and 10. So Heartfire Hero, we do something the same. Heartfire Hero, we do need Carousel Sword. As a Cacophony Scamp, if you have enough buffs, you can get there by itself. Heartfire Hero can't because it can't sacrifice itself. So we do need the Carousel Sword, but it's still not particularly hard to do. So rounding out the deck, we have 2 more creatures, 3 copies of Monetary Swift Spear, a holdout from the old Prowess decks, 1 mana 1/2 Haste Prowess, and then 4 copies of the Slick Shot Shaft. We can plot it for 2, meaning we can exile it for 2, and then basically at a later turn we can play it for 0. It's flying haste and has pseudo prowess, so whenever we cast a non-creature spell, it gets +2/+0 to end of turn. So that buff's pretty good. You know, if we have this out and then, you know, it was 1 turn inside out, it's going to give it +5/+0. If we copy it, it'll get +8/+0. So the copies from Leyline Resonant don't count as casting a spell, so it doesn't trigger prowess, but you know, that's just a minor setback. And next up, we do have 4 copies of Shock just to go face for some removal. We usually go face. And then our buff spells, apart from Turn Inside Out, we have Felonious Rage. Give a creature +2/+0, gain haste at the end of turn. When that creature dies its turn, create a 2/2 white and blue detective creature token. Might of the Meek. Draw a card's probably the most important bit, but if it's a mouse, it gets +1/+0, so our Heartfire Hero will get a small buff, but it does give a creature trample. And then Monstrous Rage, creature gets +2/+0 to the end of turn, and the create a monster roll token attached to it. The roll gives a creature +1/+1 and a trample. The rolls do not stack, so if we copy a Monstrous Rage onto the same creature, it will only get +5/+1, +1/+1 from the roll, then +4/+0 from the 2 Monstrous Rages. So just bear that in mind. Land, we only have 17 land because we don't want that many land. 3 is about the magic number. Well, 2, you need 2 for the 2 turn kill, but if that goes longer, you basically want 3 just to be able to cast things and get things out. So, is it good? Yes, it is frankly bonkers. It is not one of those decks where if you can't get the turn 2 kill, you may as well scoop. You're more than likely going to win anyway. I've only lost 2 games so far of this deck. I will play some more games after recording this before releasing the video. And that was a mirror match where I was on the draw. And in fact, neither's had the turn 2 kill. But I just, if I drew one more buff spell, would have won. And another one was just up against some removal. The deck does lack removal. Does suffer against removal, being a creature-based deck. If they take out all your creatures, you are stuffed. And if you've watched any kind of content creators, a lot of content creators create decks specifically for this deck in mind. So they'll be filled with like Elspeth Smite, which exile. So Heartfire Hero and Cacophony Scamp don't trigger. And there's another card that's a 2 mana exile attacking exile target attacking creature and things like that. So it is bonkersly good. It's not 100% win rate good, but it's not far off. It is a great deck to go up the ladder. The other thing that annoys me about this deck and about mono red, one of the things about mono red historically is that it would run out of steam. You get your creatures down, you buff them up. If your creatures get removed or they chump, you're stuffed. They have added card draw, and I don't just mean impulse card draw. Impulse card draw is the exile top 2 cards you can play once you end a turn, that kind of thing. But Might of the Meek draws a card. With Leyline Resonant, it draws 2 cards. And there are other cards which do have impulse draw in it. So it's mono red seems to have everything at the moment. I wouldn't be surprised if Wizards gave it a counter spell at some point. But rant over. That's the deck. Did I enjoy playing it? Not really. I hate the deck, but it is the most popular deck in Standard, so I felt like I'd do the video. I at least hope you enjoy the video and can see why the deck is strong and some maybe where it falls down a bit. But if you do, please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the gameplay. We go first without a 1-drop. This is better. No fling, but 2 ley lines is interesting. I think we put back the Monstrous Rage. Or do we put back a... Let's put back Monstrous Rage. They might have an Elspeth Smite for 1. But if they don't, this is a turn 2 kill. Don't even need the Cell Sword. And we get 4 Manifest Dreads as well. Oh, just 3 Manifest Dreads, sorry. Not 4. Yeah. Turn 2 kill, exact amount. We could have even, if we wanted to, hit them for another 10. So doing 30 in 1 round is what this deck's capable of. It's actually capable of more if we had another Leyline instead of just for 2. Say just for 2. It's just absolutely crazy. Well, we're on the draw, but with a pretty good hand with a Leyline in play. Let's see if they have it. Well, we don't have the fling, so let's get in. I think they do have the response. Let's rage to get 2 2/2s. And obviously, we do get to do 5 to them. And buff one of our detectives. Well, I think we play out the show off and swing in with both. Let's diversify. Hit him down to 12. And there's a very strong chance we just have lethal next turn. I will discard the shock. So I think this is probably lethal. And then we get a draw 2 as well, because red nowadays is just busted. There we go, we hit him for 13. Not a turn 2 win, but was that turn 4? So pretty good anyway. Opponent goes first. We don't have any pump spells. We do have a Leyline, so I think we give it a go. Oh, well. We're probably just lost this one then. Do they have the turn 2? So that's the power. They didn't have quite of a turn 2 kill. So we didn't have blockers. We probably would. I think I'll just play out another scamp. We're down to 3. We didn't find the pump spell, which is a problem. Obviously, we do still have the burn together. But they may have run out of creatures. Well, there's the show off. So we are, I think, just dead. Yeah. They obviously have the pump spells. We only do one pump spell. Yeah. We had the opportunities to win if we drew the correct spell, but we didn't. Drawing 4 lands in this deck obviously is not good. Opponent goes first. I think it's a mulligan, only 1 land. Oh, this is better. We'll put back a Monstrous Rage. So we can't turn 2 win with the Swift Spear, but we can get in a very, very good amount of damage. Well, that's a bit of a bummer. Alright, well then let's just plot. So it looks like we're doing this the old-fashioned way. If we had the extra land, we would have done it, I think. Well, yeah, because we would have flung it. Yeah, and our opponent scoops it up. Even with destroying Leyline Residence and Monetary Swift Spear, we still just have too much for them. Ooh, opponent goes first. Only 1 land, though. But we do have potential draw with Might of the Meek. Alright, let's give it a go. That was a bad choice. They didn't have a turn 1 play either. But if they have shock, we just scoop. Yeah, they plot their show off. Well, I think we aim to do as much damage as physically possible. And if they can kill us, so be it. Well, we will play our own slick shot show off. Just so we draw a card. Obviously they might have another shock. They draw 2. They don't get the +1/+0 because it's not a mouse. Hopefully they just drew 2 lands. I do like this card art. It's a very retro thing going on at the moment. So obviously if they have the fling, we are dead. If they had Turn Inside Out, we were dead as well. I don't think that kills us. My maths might be slightly off. But this should be lethal. Well, this is definitely lethal. Draw a card for good measure. If they had gone face with that shock instead of taking out our Swift Spear, they would have won that. And I don't think having that extra creature out earlier would have made us win, but you never know. A very, very close game. We go first with no 1-mana creature. This is better. I think we put back a land. And then we can refill our hand with Might of the Meek. We were so close to getting a turn 2 kill. But the reality is now they need a removal spell, which they do have. We will just shock the bat. Well, let's play out the Sellsword and give it haste. And obviously they need more removal. Which I'm sure they have. So they have 2 blockers. They really have to chump both of these. They don't. They do get a land, but it is a pain land. They really should have kept that back. Yeah. That was a bit silly of them. We go first with a Leyline, with a lot of creatures. One land though, so I would like one more basically. They surveil. Oh, there is a second land. Let's buff our scamp. Another buff spell will probably do it. They do have a removal spell, I think. Then they're waiting to see if I targeted a creature. We aim for 5, down to 7. We can put them down to 5. But I don't think that is... That is a good answer. Anointed Affliction exiles as well. 17 land. You know, I wanted to draw the second one, but I didn't particularly want to draw the third one. They might have another harvester they cycle. We hit him down to 7. Holy cow. Well, they're down to 5. We are chipping away at them. And they might have more counter spells. Also, 1 land away. There we go. If they've got Harvester of Misery. Just an Overlord. Not the end of the world, depending on what we draw. Just any buff spell. Any buff spell. Any buff spell does it. They're down to 2. Again, any buff spell should do it, because they need to block. But also they do have a Liliana. So... There we go. That wasn't a tough decision to make.
Nobody knows Dominaria's shadows like me. One of your friends has to.
So, shock, show off. They're what we want. Just shock now then. We have seen 2 of them. Yeah, that's not it.